It's May the 24th. Holy cow. 2017. I'm Dana. Your host. The nuclear proctologist. Guy.com. We're live streaming. Nobody knows how I do this each day. Oh. But here we are. We're good to go. And what a twisted, convoluted story we have for everybody today. I know how much everybody enjoys those types of stories. But I was looking and I found some rather interesting follow-up stories to Tepco inviting bloggers to Japan. And generally what they wanted them to do was to leave the footage with them in Japan, and they would edit it, put music in it, and then they would post it up to their website. They would pay for everything for the trip to Japan. And if you had a lot of subscribers, like a couple of million, like one of these people we're going to talk about today and show their videos and break down, I think they're generally really good people. I think they've been deceived. I think they're really good kids personally from what I see. I'm pretty convinced they didn't do the editing, but they might have. I doubt it. And so I can articulate it and show that and explain it. And it's quite stunning what I'm going to show you, everybody, when you boil it down and put it together. And there's always a lot of yuck moments in this. We have entered a new kind of weirdness where we see the governments in other countries going to extreme to convince people there's not an issue. I think this one really highlights the absurd. Now, I'll come back to that in a moment. We're up on YouTube at Beautiful Girl Boy Dana. And please give us a thumbs up. This doesn't cost much and it goes a very long way. And share us on Facebook. Just mention my name. Give me a boo. Say, I was over looking at the nuclear proctologist. And he's not a zombie. Oh, no. So give him a thumbs up and maybe put him in your bookmarks so you can find him, because they'll delete you from my subscriptions. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. The trolls, they're out there all day long grinding at me. But give us a thumbs up. It's free, okay? Don't burn any extra electricity when you click thumbs up. Seriously. And toxic stories need to be shared, okay? So we got a couple of tubers. These are on a Japanese island that's contaminated. And I'm going to cut my music off. They got really drama music. Think about this for later in the video. And look how stunning. I can do the same footage coming up. Much better. This is important. What's going to show up for the rest of the show. You seen everybody was wearing face masks. And look how serious the mood is. This is serious. Everybody's focused. There's no ninnying. This is pre going into the ghost towns and the evacuation zones in Fukushima. The lead up in the weeks before they brought them into the evacuation zone. Pumped them full of goodness and kindness.
All right, let's go.
Go. See the urgencies? Right? How they organized this so well.
Yo. everyone. Today we're doing a crazy adventure, and not only are we doing one today, but we are doing one even crazier tomorrow, where I might have to actually split my movies tomorrow in 3 parts. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do exactly. We'll figure this out. But right now we're on an abandoned island off the coast of Japan. It opened up in 1903 and closed in 1967. This whole area was a coal mine. Back in the day, Japan was...
You can't make this up if you tried. So anybody's not familiar with what just happened, like, coal is natural to the planet, so they just demonized coal. But these guys didn't know what they were doing. This is total setup, and you'll understand this as the show progresses. These are innocent kids that have been manipulated and tricked and deceived, I hope. I think I can do a really good job of proving that coming up. Let me turn that down a little bit. It's not blowing up. It's kind of got a weird flavor to it. One more. Okay. And so, anyway, the story is they're wearing these masks. These are popular YouTubers. But now we're going to see them going into an evacuation zone. So we'll be dodging. Good morning to everybody joining us on the live stream. I'm sure everybody appreciates how weird this can get and how hard it is actually to pull off. So they're going into the graveyards of Fukushima, where nobody would go. And if you did, you wear expensive equipment, but they don't. They're not looking for dinosaurs. Ow! And they're not going to become superheroes from hanging out in radiation. I swear it's not going to happen. Trust me. They're doing it for money. For freebies. Somebody liked them. They gave them all kinds of free shit. They're willing to do anything. Right? That's exactly what you're seeing. 100%. So they're gone into the exclusion zone where they think they are invincible because somebody convinced them. And I think for sure that is what happened, right? And that when they got there, they become intimidated by these creatures. And they were coerced by this monolithic machine known as the nuclear industry. And it fills you full of nonsense and fluff and then destroys everything you covet. And it's a legacy of the nuclear industry. And there's nothing they won't do to silence the opposition. But we don't shake in the same way as them, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna break it down, make it simple, stupid for everybody, all right? Okay, let's get it on, everybody. Welcome back to the live stream, to everybody that's following the world. Sometimes I get this right and sometimes I don't, right? Oh yeah. Just gotta do the right thing first. Just keep going. I'll change that music because that's terrible. I know. I'll get it together. Give me a minute. Get any shit idea how crazy this gets? So let's get on with the video.
March 11, 2011, an
I'll dodge in
earthquake
and
and
out.
tsunami hit the nuclear power plant in Fukushima, causing 3 nuclear meltdowns, hydrogen air chemical explosions, and the release of radioactive material. When this happened, a total of...
Now he's reading a script. He didn't think this up on his own. I'm not belittling him. I'm not mocking him. I'm just stating it.
470,000 people had to evacuate. Approximately 18,500 people died due to the earthquake and tsunami. As for the radiation, no one died due to overexposure, but there are reports that there are more cases of children developing thyroid cancer and other cancers. It is now 2017 and they have been constantly working on the cleanup and decontamination process to make it as safe as possible again. People who lived in the 30-kilometer area zone are allowed to come back to their houses again, but many will never return in fear of getting sick. There is so much to explore here in Fukushima that is left and abandoned. In this video, I only cover one city of the many abandoned ones.
So level 4 nuclear action. See that in the bottom of the edit? That's significant. This was a catastrophic event. So anyway, what we're going to see is they're not going to wear these masks into the no-go zone. Not that they're going to help you, because the radiation is 1/10,000th, a millionth of a meter. It's you put 2 million atoms on the head of a needle, you can't see it. So the mask, you need a full body suit, and then you need to put that in a sarcophagus after you use it till the end of time. Now, he said nobody died. I'll challenge all their assertions because it's obvious they were saying it offhand. Somebody else edited it and tried to put words in their mouth as if this is their, as if they're articulating it. They weren't. They're exploring. This is what they do. They explore wrecks and different communities that got abandoned facilities. They're just innocent kids. That's how I see them. And they're not public relation firms. This is way out of their league. What they ended up getting themselves into is how I see this, perceive it. And you will kind of perceive it maybe your own way, but I'll show you my documentation that I got gathered up. And it always takes us several minutes to get going. It's so complicated, as you'll realize at the end of this show. And by now, I'm sure how complicated it is to do all this by yourself. So 7 people died in this particular shopping street. And you got trouble in paradise, by the way. 7 people died on this particular shopping street in the same area they were, but not the evacuation zone, right? But not too far from where they were, in another direction, say. Same distance. 7 people died on a shopping street that they kept open in certain areas because they got thousands of people in there. A lot of the workers are unable to read. The majority of the workers that they're running into it, apparently. They got to realize Tokyo had a cloud crisis of nuclear waste coming through. And in Fukushima, it was where humans were vomiting uncontrollably and their hairs were being stripped from their bodies. That's confirmed. This hairline kind of sums it up. You can see Tokyo nuke cloud crisis, sun, March the 14th. I just showed you that headline, right? And so every day there was 10 people. So when you say no one died from the radiation, that's a total disparage from facts, as you're going to see later. Cleanup worker dies, found collapsed after removing radioactive soil. Decontaminating. Birds unable to fly and allowed humans to approach them. We've seen studies on the birds now where they totally decimated. Fireman dies after working in a quake in Fukushima. Vomited blood and kidney failure. The workers are affected. 4 workers died. Leukemias and heart attacks. So when you say nobody died, this is words the PR firms are using. And so I see those connotations constantly where they were regurgitating that nonsense. It's not their fault, they're kids, right? Report indicates 5 workers received a fatal dose. It was a fatal dose, right? A gamma shine x-rays, neutrons. The kids went in there, they went to the island where there's a coal mine, wore masks, but they went into the radiation zone, and here we go, and didn't wear masks or gloves, and kept their clothing, used their own equipment, and carried that back home with them. It's extraordinary what you're going to see today. It's heartbreaking. If I was the parents, I would be losing my mind. And you'll understand the significance of what they just done to themselves and how much harm they're now in. And even them having children in the near future will cause them most likely to have to liquidate their assets to deal with the health problems. It's really going to be something in their near future. They don't understand it. Because cancer is the last one to show up, right? Cancer might not show up 10, 20, 30 years. There's 1,800 diseases will show up before. It sequesters in your muscles, your organs, your bones immediately. And then your body's attacking it for decades to build a tumor around it. They're in real trouble. They just don't understand it. They'll become tired now all the time. They'll become more aggressive, lack of oxygen, because of the white blood cells are displaced and the red blood cells carrying the oxygen and the nutrients throughout their body never stops. Like if you have an injury, the white blood cells I'll get on with it. Just give me a moment. But the white blood cells will attack the injury and rebuild it, and then your body level of red blood cells comes back to normal. But with radiation in your body, as I'm going to show you coming up, it never stops attacking it. Your oxygen is displaced permanently. So you never heal, but you're not bleeding per se till 30 years down the road. You're liquidating your assets to deal with the cancers or leukemias or diabetes or Alzheimer's or dementia. Autism with your children is common, and heart and liver and lung respiratories, pituitary, adrenaline gland issues. Nuclear radiation is the most carcinogenic thing that exists. So this is the beginning of a video called Abandoned Radiation City, Fukushima, Japan. And look, they got no protective gear on, watching vending machines abandoned. No one's stealing it because they don't want to go in there. See, and what you're going to find out is how they were deceived. I'm going to show it to you, explain it to everybody, and hopefully other people don't fall for this again, and their parents sue the people that done this to them. It's really something coming up.
Besides the beeping going off, this is super quiet, and the feeling I'm getting, I said it before, but this is the real deal.
Where are we at? We're looking at 2.8 over here. Let's bring it down to the soil.
The soil reads it at 3.28, 3.65, 4.69.
Which was an evacuation zone originally.
Not that bad, and still safe.
No, that was the evacuation. They started evacuating the nuke plant at that number, at 5, just above that, right? It's the most carcinogenic thing that exists. Now, the 5 millisieverts that they're showing you is, you got to realize what's going on here. You count it you'll see this coming up, but it's counts per minute, not microsieverts or millisieverts or unisieverts. That's for like sunshiners. Like, you can't pick sunshine up on a Geiger counter, but it's for that kind of effect. And so what you're looking at, the numbers, there's about 150 per one. So if they got 4.9, say 5, and closer to 5, then it's 500, and then another 250, so 750 counts per minute, counts per second, depending on what kind of gear you're looking. The gear they're using was given to them by people who didn't want to show their faces on their camera, and admitted that, and they even say that. And then the Geiger counter itself is inferior, and you're going to understand why, because we're going to show it to you. Thyroid cancer is expected in children. Now, we normally show studies where there's 13,646 children out of 40,000 that were showing they would get cancer in the very near future in their thyroids because they had all those symptoms that are emblematic with it. But the number per million is 1 or 2 people per million. And I'll just bring in that clip very quick, just so that people got a record of it themselves. I always got to turn the volume up on this one before I play it. I'll just duck out.
But there's clear evidence rates have risen. Before the disaster in 2011, the rate of thyroid cancer was between 1 and 2 cases in every million children. Now,
1 to 2 cases.
200,000 children screened so far.
And I showed it real studies. This was a public relations firm, but it was an important clip, so I included it. So the kids are in the highly contaminated zone with no mask, but they're to a cold island with mask on a week or 2 before, right? So counts per minute. Think about this. That's not how that's supposed to work. You know? Oh yeah, I was supposed to fix that, and I didn't. And I don't know what I got done there. Let's go back to putting the music on, not worrying about it. Here we go. The background was supposed to be different than what we got there. And background was supposed to be like this. And then I can go DDR1, bring it up that way. And just get rid of the pinch, and we're back up to speed. Hang on, there we go. So it works, whatever. So much more radioactive than the dust throughout that area. This is Minnesota where there are 2 right now, right? And 1 million becquerels of cesium. Now the way this works, when they talk about it, for the rest of the video, I want you to take this into context. When you see stuff like cesium, I want you to realize that curium is the biggest byproduct of the radiated fuel rods, and that cesium is the tracer. So cesium is the tracer, and all cesium-137 or 134, these are both fission, very dangerous. But it means all your other daughters are there. They're dangerous because they all came from a chain reaction, right? So the reactor runs on uranium and their daughters, and plutonium and its daughters, which are all these other ones, right? All of these and their daughters all came from the uranium after the chain reaction. All of them are dirty bombs. And so when they say microsieverts or millisievers, their Geiger counter is only picking up cesium-137. It's not picking up the curium. And there's so many of these scales. And this one I always got sitting in my bookmark, but I never normally use. But now I use in the shows regularly because it's sitting right there. But xenon, for instance, or look at it this way. You take uranium, say 238, they hit it with neutrons, it becomes 239. It decays to americium-239 right away. Then that decays to plutonium-239, and then that's a fission product. And then they hit that, they reclaim that and hit that and get 241. But all the daughters, all the products come from it. And by the way, some shit news this morning. I'll share it. I got to raise more money. Another $1,500. I didn't know the battery packs. I thought, like, for the camera itself. And see that plug? That unique plug? Yeah. That's your problem. And you need that, and total is $1,524. And so I'm going to have to raise that money to finish out that whole project, or nothing's going to work without it. So I've got no choice but to go ahead and try to pull that off now and start raising money. You can find ways to donate under my video. The beautiful girl by Dana, for anybody paying attention.
I made it into the school.
Okay, school. Think about how 2 high school students in the same school died at once. At another school they kept open in an area that shouldn't be open. Think about the disinformation trying to confuse the public about external, which is what you're doing with your Geiger counter, and internal, which is what everybody has to worry about. Think about the child's risk of cancer from radiation is 10 to 100 times higher because of body volumes. Child drinks the same water and consuming the same food that the adults, so they'll get proportionally different doses. The government in Japan, the safe levels they're talking about in the videos coming up, They were raised 75 times higher than what was already unconscionable before Fukushima happened. And you can look up all kinds of stuff, how low doses of radiation causes heart diseases and strokes right away. And that girls have twice as many thyroid lumps as boys, but it shows up way later, same as it will for those 2 kids in the video. And it's clear that low-level contamination is more dangerous than a single dose. This is what those kids had done.
Stop beeping, actually.
Yeah, it stopped beeping as he entered.
They're in a
the building.
school.
There's not a lot of radiation in here at all.
Which is good for us.
Yeah, very good.
Which is good for us. No. Government's answer to protecting children in Fukushima from radioactive fallout wear long-sleeved shirts while at school. This is, you don't have any kind of a government. You got monsters at that stage, okay? 1,000 workers, they say visiting Fukushima? Visiting Fukushima. What does that even mean? Nobody visits Fukushima willingly. You got 4 buildings gone into complete 100% meltdowns. Think about how badly damaged the buildings are. Like they showed you Unit 1. I can bring up a depiction of Unit 1 anytime you want, Dana. So they showed you that Unit 1, right? And the detonation behind me. They didn't show you Unit 3. You know what I mean, right? They didn't show you Unit 3. And they didn't show you the 30 million bags they picked up already in that same area, Minnesota. They didn't show you the radioactive fallout impact in North America, not just Japan, heavily. Those kids didn't know none of this. Right? They didn't understand the disparity of the lie and the truth. Here's the truth behind me, there's the lie over there. Right? It's hard to wrap your mind around it when you don't understand. The buildings were 190 feet high, now they're gone. Let's keep going with the story. And we got lots to get through yet. That's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. We're getting there. Like the kids, it's not the kid's fault, okay? And it's not his fault, and it's not his fault they were deceived and tricked at all. And this is, their parents should be suing whoever sponsored them and brought them here.
Oh my God.
Their Geiger counters are useless, what they're doing.
I know.
It's horrible.
Dude, we're on an... Oh my God. You
Look,
showed the whole...
nothing on. Like, that was my kid. I go down and grab him by the ears and I drag him home and scream on the phone at every government on the planet for allowing that to happen. Not that I can catch my kid. It's too fast, but I'm just saying. I'd throw my shoe at him for sure. I'd get you. Don't you worry. And, like, think about the equipment now is contaminated, but you need sophisticated equipment to pick it up. All that clothing, right? He's wiping his fingers on his mouth. He's breathing it in. No matter how you try to get away from it, you got to touch stuff. You're walking around. Everything is there because it's contaminated. People didn't come in and take it away because it's stupid. You die for doing it. What, make a couple of $1,000s? Like, it's stunning what you're going to see coming up. How they're walking around with no protection anywhere at any time. It's like, you what? I would freak out 100%. Let me finish that out.
Oh my God. Peep this.
What do you think this was? Whoa.
I know. Dude, we're on an... Oh my God. You just shook the whole... Dude, you shake the whole thing.
What do you think this was?
I think they were... No. I think they were training here, though. Like a...
Yo, I think this is like a trampoline.
Yeah, it's weird,
like
but...
a gymnastics place.
You're used to
realize what
exploring
we're
buildings.
doing right
That's
now?
all.
We're in Fukushima.
Right, you're in Fukushima, and you don't understand. For a lot less than radiation where you're to, they closed 130 schools in South Korea. And then think about the rain in California had 10 times more radioactivity than the ones they closed for. And then you're in a spot that's going to be totally disparaged of what these places are by a very long shot because you're so close. There's so much there. That's why nobody went back and got all that equipment. Let's keep going.
They had a small library.
Totally abandoned because it's highly radioactive. You should never be there, not even with equipment. They can't filter it. It's too tiny to filter. That's why they abandon it. It can't be filtered. See?
It's so weird still seeing this stuff.
And scroll back up and change the background a little bit. Okay, so 50 becquerels a kilogram, and the food down there you're allowed like is an unconscionable amount in your food, and so they don't have to tell you. And so if you're living there for a week or 2 weeks, you're getting brutal doses, but it doesn't show up for 5 or 10 years. 50 becquerels a kilogram in humans lead to irreversible lesions in the vital organs. Those kids are still growing, and still bodies are still developing. They should never have been there. Their kidneys, their eyes, their retinas, their brains are very vulnerable. They should have never been there. Safety standards and radiation levels for children are unconscionable. Over and over and over, I can show you this. The workers at the plant are underage, and they're being brought in by the mob, which is basically, betcha who brought those people in. The government wouldn't do it. So 27,000 becquerels a kilogram in this school. This is inconceivable. This would never be allowed pre-Fukushima anywhere on the planet. These people would have been arrested for even attempting to do this to children. Now it's normal.
I'm shaking right now because I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm feeling.
I know what you're feeling.
Like really shaking. I'm just like, what is going on?
You're feeling the radiation. The Geiger counter can't pick it up because it's a bogus one. The people who gave it to you on that for that purpose. You don't know what you're doing, right, with it. It's not your fault. New York Times exposes gleeful radiation experts trying to calm the public with bananas. And those connotations, what they're talking about is when you hear people saying it's like walking in sunshine, number 1, or number 2, eating a banana. And number 4, like a potato chip, or sleeping next to somebody, or climbing a mountain, or flying on a plane. It's everywhere and it's good for you. All of these connotations are people that are afraid to punch you in the mouth, but that's another way of doing it to you. And they're afraid to murder you, so they stab you with these little atoms, and then a decade down the road, your parents have to liquidate their assets to keep their loved one alive until it's all gone. And this is just a daily thing with this industry. It thrives on misery only. Researchers too frightened to get closer than 100 kilometers. Those kids are right in there. It's quite shocked by the amount way out there. Now, we documented it in the sewage systems and the water facilities, the garbage facilities. They're burning it in the incinerators throughout the country. That's why you can't visit the country. That's why you can't have Olympics there. They're out of control. They're suffering from a Stockholm syndrome of the nuclear industry. Hard to imagine anything more frightening than a 5-year-old marching off to irradiated school playgrounds with cheap Geiger counters strapped to their chest. It really is. See, that like this kind of stuff really hurts me. It affects me all day after the show. I'm affected by this kind of, when I do these streams. All morning I'm affected by this, and I finally sit here and do the stream. I get up 5 a.m. and I run till 10:30 a.m. Then I do my live stream here, what we're doing right now. And then the rest of the day, like, I'm literally traumatized by doing this show each day. There's nothing good about the things I do. There's nothing happy for me in my life outside of being able to do what I'm doing. And sure, I can't find happiness in my life at all, because I have to stare this evil entity in the face all the time and come out and try to reason with people. But I have 6 gag orders, and so trying to raise $1,500 to get the extra last piece of equipment, hopefully, that I need. And if it's not, I gotta raise more, whatever, to get the equipment, to tell the stories, to produce the documentaries that will fit into the paradigm that everybody lives into. And so we're gonna send a fleet out there this spring. So I gotta try to negotiate all of this and raise, like, it's overwhelming. And when you got 6 gag orders now saddling you down, tying you down, and people are using to bludgeon you, you still have to come out and every day stand tall before the man. and in front of judgment by everybody and be mocked by the entire planet constantly, and people try to humiliate me constantly, but I'm genuinely concerned and honest and sincere, and I document it and show it. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do, and so I work so hard because I have to for you. You don't understand it, I do. And that's why I do the things I do. So it's just, I hate having to do what I gotta do, that's all.
Other people have been here. Huh.
They're big.
Looks like where they do their speeches.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, this is insane. Everything.
Everything your eyes can see, everything that light touches, Simba, is abandoned. Abandoned. We're just here exploring this.
Oh man, their trophies are even knocked down.
This is seriously really sad, though. I mean, I'm excited because I like the thrill and I really wanted to go here and I wanted to document it. But seriously, it's really upsetting to see all this. And if I, be 100% honest with you, it is. This is why we really need to just stay away from the nuclear power. It already happened twice. It's bound to happen again.
Watch this. So as soon as we get next to the air and the soil, it starts going off again. But it's only a 1.5 usually. And seriously, that's still not bad.
No, if you're showing up at all, you need to run away. That's what the professionals would do. They drop the Geiger counter and run away. It's propaganda about low-level radiation, absolute rubbish. I agree with that statement. But 75% of the children going to schools that they're in abandoned right now because you can't go there. But they go to other schools that are already radiated anyway. So contaminated, they'd be radiation controls in the nuclear plant itself. Playground staircase 70 times the maximum allowable, far exceeding, far from the evacuation zone. 69 millisieverts per year. These are catastrophic numbers. 7.9. Remember, they evacuated the plant at 5. Daycare center when the accident happened, because that was the law. Now everything goes out the book. Daycare at 7.1 microsieverts. That Geiger counter is broken, eh? 45 microsieverts near a school, 90 times higher than Chernobyl. He was by Chernobyl and didn't know what he was doing. So they used them once, now they're going to use them again.
Contaminated drinks.
So the drinks are not contaminated. The whole part of the country is. Right? It's not the drinks. So the editors, when they're editing this, are like, right, let's try that in there. All these little clips, that's what was going on. I'm pretty convinced they didn't do the editing. I'm not making a big deal about that. But I know this is what Tepco was going to give people, wanted to come down there. You had to give them the keys to your site and in order to post a video. And you also had to allow them to do the editing, leave the footage with them. It was totally public relation. We made fun of it, right? But we knew this was going to happen. And they took some of the most vulnerable kids imaginable, these kids just love exploring. This was like, you sure it's safe? Right? They were concerned, but they were convinced by bananas and potato chip peddlers that it was, when that's absolutely, your body's acclimated to this stuff through genetic superior selection. Right? Everything is on the planet. It's called homeostasis. You can't get any more natural stuff into your body. Your body doesn't sequester it and store any extra. Man-made, we store it in our body attacks every one of them. And when you're talking, they were in a spot where numbers could be, because of the multiple isotopes. See, when you see cesium headlines, once again, remember, when you see a cesium headline, all those other isotopes are also there too, right? Okay, let's keep going on to the next section.
And those trophies. What? Oh my god.
So think of radiation as an Ebola virus that don't show up for a decade. You breathe it in. Or a flu that don't show up for a decade. You breathe it in. This is abandoned because you're not supposed to be there.
This place is huge.
If you are, you're supposed to be covered head to toe. And you're supposed to have real equipment and know how to use it. You shouldn't be there when someone passes you the Geiger counter, and then that shouldn't become the focus of your entire video. That's what a public relation firm would do. But you would have to be pretty cold-blooded to do it to these two kids. These are good kids. And so this was murder. These kids will die from that exposure for sure. And don't worry, just smile and everything will go away, yeah? Let's jump to the next another video. Now remember, the kids are not wearing nothing, and I'm just going to copy those two other pictures so I can recall them with a paste wherever I'm to, rather than what I'm doing right now, which just lost my spot. No, we're into that new section, right? See, Dana's pretty good. Maybe. It's just so technically challenged to get this right all the time without making a mistake while you're doing it live. Kind of overwhelming. Yeah, that'll work. Okay.
Guys,
kind of.
next up, I think we're going into a hospital.
I'll turn my music down. Now they're going into a hospital, right? And so Tokyo Hospital for sale. Tokyo Hospital is owned by, you guessed it, Tepco. Hospital post signs at the entrance. We do not serve tests for radiation. Tepco. Our treatment for radiation. We can just go way down the rabbit hole and that stuff. So they got music in a lot of theirs will conflict with mine. I just turned mine
guys,
off.
Sorry, the Geiger counter is going off. That's just beeping.
Oh, yeah.
It's totally safe, but it's just there. It has to beep for us to be protected.
Now you're going. Keep going. See, if your Geiger counter goes danger, it's too late. Right? That's an inside joke. But I had to laugh because it's too, if I sat around. So the editors must have loved that. They were like, "Oh yeah, we gotta keep that clip." Got some red color going on with that camera today. I didn't turn it up a picture, but whatever. That's pretty funny though. I'm not making fun of them. Does thought I had that out of my system when I was editing. Hang on. Pick the soundboard up and put the wire in there. Uh-oh. Looks like that camera's gonna bail on us. That means I gotta... No, that shouldn't have happened. That can't be good. Dana, fix shit. The hell, man? Okay. You just gotta figure out where that's all. I know. Okay, I got it. I can move me down there. The big camera back there. We won't have that up running for at least another week, 2 weeks probably, actually. I'll just pinch that big camera off. Oh man, that thing is so awesome. Wait till I get that up and running. I don't know why the other camera packed it in. I swore it charged the battery on it. Whatever. We're up and running. Hospital refused to provide medical care. So this is why their version is so wrong. It can't be seen by a doctor. It's just not right. It'll be confusing if our results are different from the university. That's why they gave them those kids the fake Geiger counters.
So we're inside
a hospital.
What we think is a hospital and their kitchen.
Look at this. Some old contamination suits. Some old decontamination suits or hazard suits. I mean, it looks like it.
Kinda, yeah.
No, this is from the earthquake.
Oh, this must have been the back room. The break room, that's what it is. Got your lockers here. This is one of those cases where they literally had to leave. So it's pretty sad.
But look what they left behind. Like, everything gets left behind. You run away and you never come back. They should not be there, not even with equipment on. The paper suits cannot protect you. Otherwise, you would filter radiation with it. But we can't filter radiation. And so when they see microsieverts or millisievers on that little garbage, idiotic, stupid, worthless, alleged Geiger counter that they were given, if you watch some of their videos on it, you'll see they're talking about, they don't want to be on camera, they're right here, but they gave us this Geiger counter. I mean, here, take this pill. Oh, he's dead? Really? See ya. No. This is like totally, completely out of control. 40% of the visitors showed an internal exposure. This is what you're worried about. Breathing. The fact you were even breathing mean you definitely were getting doses. The fact you were going into an abandoned city is abandoned not for something to do, not because there's not all kinds of thieves out there couldn't figure out, hey, let's go in there and steal some shit. No one was stupid enough to go in there. And the people went in there were misled also, who tricked you going in were most likely misled also, or just criminals. Most likely criminals, yeah?
What you guys are about to see in this video is
There's another
insane.
video. Did you see that? Did you catch that? All happy because he's been lied to, manipulated, and deceived, and twisted everything they said to him. It's really, like, it's unconscionable, but
What's up, you guys? Today we are in Fukushima.
He's laughing.
Fukushima. We've driven an hour and a half
I'll turn it
from
up.
Fukushima station to up north towards the Fukushima actual 30-kilometer radioactive zone.
Yay!
This tree right here behind me, it's in a town called Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. And this tree right here is one of the only trees that survived the tsunami that happened with Fukushima. There used to be 5,000 homes.
A tree. Right, I done a show this week or last week on how they're going to burn these radiated trees and liberate that back into the environment. And so it's really heartbreaking to see these
Here
kids.
now. You can probably see it's pretty barren. We're gonna go explore around the rest of the 30K zone. Just this month, actually, residents who used to live here are allowed back in, and only 14% of them have actually come back. So it's pretty low. People are pretty traumatized still, since it only happened 6 years ago.
Yeah, but what happened 6 years ago? They keep raising the levels. 11 becquerels a kilogram, you see heart problems. They were getting 700 times that on their Geiger counters. You just need one exposure. You're driving by and someone rolls the window down, that's game over 10, 20, 30 years down the road. Goodbye assets, you got to liquidate everything. Significant rise in cancer after about 5 years. And so, it's really straightforward when you look into that context, and that you look at the disparage of the reality of what happened there. You look at how radiation that goes in your body is what we're talking about. The microsieverts and millisievers means you're surrounded by atoms and they go and you ingest them just breathing. And it's you got to realize what he picked up is so much radiation throughout the country. And what happened to that country, there was no way to save the plants. The country was demolished, right? The radiation gets in your body, rips your DNA and chromosomes apart. Your body becomes irradiated and the other organs become affected by the man-made radiation. And you pass that on to generations, including the animal kingdom. And so this is what I'm a specialist in. And they're specialists in coming out with public relation firms, right? Smile, it can't hurt you type guys. That's the world we live in. Internal exposure 200 to 600 times. So the external, like if you had a suit on and you got external with the millisievers and unisievers, and your body is like a sun rays, like a sunburn that never goes away. It's like an invisible fire that you can't put out. It gets in your body and attacks your DNA. Every second it pulses and cracks your DNA all around it throughout your body. That stuff becomes... And so it looks like I lost the power on that camera. So obviously I smurfed up somewhere along the way this morning. Which is okay because we're at the end of the show. As long as the microphone don't pack it in, we're doing just fine. The country was destroyed and wrecked. And the liars come out like you see. Look, UN. See, why would you ever trust UN? It's despicable every time they open their mouth. When we know nuclear radiation is the most carcinogenic thing that exists, bar nothing, right? There is nothing out there that touches it. We see people out there faking it, and
We are here inside Reactor 4 at the Fukushima
it's patently absurd.
Power plant that was severely crippled during the
I'll show you
earthquake and
pictures.
tsunami of 2011, leading to the country's worst nuclear disaster.
So here's another person saying they're inside of a perfect building.
1,500 highly radioactive fuel rods inside this pool. They've got to move them outside of this reactor into a safer location. It is a vital, some say dangerous.
Look at the building. Look around what they're saying.
And the tops of these pools are 100 feet above ground.
And
the top of the pools?
And the tops of these pools are 100 feet above ground.
Okay. And then the top of the pool looks like it's supposed to be inside of that building. The roof of it looks like this or this or this, yeah? And that's patently absurd. That's patently absurd. There is no pools in the tops of the building, right? They came to North America in those plume models. They're still coming out of there. So there's no tops of the buildings. They tore down what was left of Unit 4 and Unit 3. You'll never get inside of either one of these buildings. The people alongside of it, those suits can't protect you from gamma shine X-rays or neutrons or unisievers, millisievers, or atoms or anything else. It doesn't work that way. That's not how nuclear works. And that's the show today. That's what you got. Dana Durnford, nuclearproctologist.org. I compile all of that to help you understand there's a better way forward than lies and deceptions and manipulations. It's my little humble dinky, and I've done the entire coast of North America, Canada, 15,000 miles on the beach, and showing an extinction event. I got 6 gag orders on me. I ask you to please have patience with me. Please understand the enormity and the stress I'm under, that I have to continue this research, this work, and this mission. And there's no way back for any of us. We stand together, we all hang separate. That's the fact. That's the reality we now live in. There's no shortcuts to a future. We have to be diligent, and we have to hold them accountable constantly. And I'm doing my part. It's nonstop. I have no issues with it. I will continue to do it forever. Long past my existence on this planet, my work will continue. That's just the reality. And I'm not ever going to get out of this fight for anybody under any circumstances. And I'm not going to sit there and let them do that to our children. Like done to those 2 children that went to Japan looking for a good time and will pay for it with their lives and their children's lives and their finances because of people in an industry that refuses to submit to my will. You will submit. Hugs for everybody.